4 tips and a strategy for dealing with bulimia, anorexia, binge eating without getting fat. An insight and some understanding, as if you don't already know. However, I'm a psychotherapist, psychologist, coach. My name's Poppy. Check me out if you're interested. Do I have something for you immediately? I do, actually. Okay, so here we go. I equally had an eating disorder for 30 years. Ironically, also, I used to work in a psychiatric facility for people with eating disorders, and I mean it when I say without getting fat. Firstly, nutritional content is key. If you're anything like most people, you're asking yourself to eat the kinds of food that freak you out, that don't attend to your human needs for functioning. So whilst you may have binge foods and so on, here's what I'd say. Eat the rainbow, natural foods, and intermittent fasting, believe it or not, I would recommend. It's helped thousands of people, more than globally, which is essentially stop eating after dark and give your body some real time to rest and replenish. I understand if you were restricting for days on end and so on. However, you could think about it as a lifestyle moving forward if it's useful. Technique-wise, here's what had me break through after 30 years. However, when we're ready, we're ready. And it was 2 things. One is, I don't know where my dowser is, studied at the psychic school in South Kensington. We all have intuition, we all have higher self, we all are brilliant. It's the case that we don't listen. We turn a blind eye to the actual things and then me, all about me and so on. I thought about my loved ones who have passed and thought, and you do you, take what you want, leave what you don't. And I thought, what would they see if they can see me behaving in these ways, treating myself these ways? In fact, 3 things really helped me. And whether you believe it or not, in my opinion and my experience and literal experience, is they can see you. They do love you, all is forgiven. However, they can see you and they know what you're doing with your binging and your facing in the toilet and you're restricting and your hideous, spiraling thoughts and obsession about stuff. They can see you. The other thing I thought is, if I was holding a baby and you're in charge of a baby, a precious little vulnerable thing, and you're carrying that baby around as you do your behaviors, they will be absorbing your behavior, your feelings, your low vibing, I hate me thing. And by default, they're evaporating. It's going into their nervous system, your stress, which, by the way, suppresses your immunity. Your brain's not functioning well. So you could think about adrenal fatigue. You could think about probiotic. The mood is in the gut. I had no idea until about 20 years in. Water. Seems a bit much. However, what's recommended is half your body weight in ounces of water, which for most people, depends how underweight you are or overweight, it's about 2 litres of water per day. Yes, you'll piss like a racehorse. However, you get to be hydrated. Particularly if you're smoking or drinking or caffeine and so on, and yes, there's caffeine in tea, your urine gets to be pretty much not observable as yellow. That's an indicator we're dehydrated. Take what you want. The other was, I thought, who is my mentor that I'd really like to be like? If we think about actually what you'd like to do as your passion, your vision, your mission, your reason for being here, the thing that's Googled a lot is, what's my purpose? Most of us don't have a sense of meaning, something greater than us. So you do get to think about who's a mentor that, if they had a bird's eye view into your day and how you treat you, are you in any way walking your talk in terms of, and I'm guessing no, however, you're human, be careful, be kind as much as you can. You get to notice how you're talking to you. I remember catching myself about 20 years ago calling myself a stupid bitch because I was struggling to make the bed, and when you put the duvet on, I had never been conscious of the way I talk to me. If you're judging you, you do judge others by default. And let's just, talk straight on that one. You are judging other people very harshly because you're in fear. You're not looking at people or you from a place of love. Love and fear, that's what we've got. What's making you actually sick inside? What are you vomiting up? What are you suppressing yourself from having more of? There's a message in there, in the behavior. You know, the cells hold the feelings. What are you actually saying with your behavior? Something is too much. You don't want any more of it. So you found this very creative way, and bravo you, a genius way of coping with something that's gross outside of you. That's not your doing. You're having a response to it, which is enough's enough. Thank you. I'm not taking that anymore. And when you fill yourself up too much, you fill yourself to the brim, and then the act of get it out, good for you. However, the way you're doing it, all emotion is valid. It's what we do with the emotion that becomes a problem. Please save the video if this is like literally a vomit of interpretation, words and ideas. We get to be mindful of what we binge on, because if we're binging on or restricting something, we'll be binging on and restricting other things. We cannot selectively numb, is the point. If you numb one feeling, joy and anger, you'll numb all of them. Be kind, you know? You've learned a behaviour, good for you. However, I'm guessing you're outgrowing it, otherwise you wouldn't be looking for solutions. There's not enough certainty in your life. Agreed? There's too much variety, too much unknown. You've lost a sense of what is predictable that you can rely on, and the answer to that is you. You get to have strategies and habits and behaviours, disciplines every single day that you can rely on, that will give you more of a sense of self, that you have a grounded way of being with you. Something you can predict that isn't about food. It's not about the food. That's just about a coping mechanism. Focus out. So what I know about people who essentially, there's an underlying depression there. And depression comes from pain. Spiritual needs. We've got 6 human needs, fundamental survival needs. This is in subscription if you'd like to be a subscriber, 6 human needs and so on, done my way. Spiritual needs are growth and contribution. If you're not growing towards something greater than you, that you're not creating new neural pathways that aren't about tagging food and water loading and all the things, it's growth and contribution. How are you contributing to something that's greater than you, that again isn't about me, 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 all about me? It's a coping strategy. It may have worked for you so far. However, there's a better way of doing it. And when I say without putting on weight, okay, maybe a couple pounds of muscle. I remember a boyfriend doing this once to me on my leg, and he said, "You got no muscle." True. Mood is in the gut. Please don't forget that. 1% shift each day. Please, I hope some of this works. Save the video. And if you like this kind of content, I talk about other things that are equally symptomatic of our dis-ease. You just have a particular strategy. So until we, find something that's better than the strategy we're using, we don't generally shift. However, when it gets bad enough, we do. I'll hold the hope if you're stuck. Send in love.